It's a Fireside Chat, y'all.
Welcome back to another Fireside Chat, where we bring casual technology conversations to you. With us, I've got Adlai, and we're talking project management. So Adlai, thanks for being with us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. My first question for you is really around project management. And as we're engaging in some of these projects, why would a customer bring in a project manager to manage an IT project?
I think that what really interests customers is that project managers are always looking at things from like a 10,000-foot view.
Yeah.
So we're always considering the big picture and looking at the entire scope of the project, so that, you know, the technical resources on the customer side and the technical resources on our side can really concentrate and stay in the weeds and look at the tasks ahead.
Like alignment. It's really alignment, helping. Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's essentially like having an event planner for a big event like a wedding. You know,
Right.
they're really orchestrating the entire engagement so that everyone on the kind of the ground can stay on track.
It seems like, too, when we bring in project managers, one of the things I noticed, especially as we got more effective in the way that we manage projects, it seems like customers get a better outcome. Are you seeing, I mean, what's your kind of take on that? Or
I mean, we see a direct result of project management and project success. Projects that don't have project managers tend to get off track. They tend to take a little bit longer than expected. And they don't always have the outcome that the customer necessarily was looking for. So I think project managers really are able to kind of look at all of the different elements and ensure that you have that success.
as you were talking about successful outcomes, one of the things that we were talking about you mentioned was risk. And can you tell me a little bit about that? How do project managers help with risk?
So one of the main things that project managers and a good project manager is always looking at is any risks that kind of present themselves during the course of a project. We're constantly doing risk analysis and really scope analysis to make sure that any risks that present themselves, that we mitigate them and be as proactive as possible so that they don't affect, you know, the schedule or the cost or the quality of the project. And we're also always ensuring that we're staying on task and that we're accounting for meeting our deliverables, which is really to, you know, meet the scope of the project.
Yeah. We work a lot with, obviously, there's engineers both on the customer side and on our side. There's management to some layer on the customer side. How do you keep those parties kind of connected, and how do you keep that on track?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing really is to understand who your stakeholders are. So, I mean, we do have technical resources on the customer end. We often have executive resources on the customer end that want to stay informed and updated. And so it's really just understanding who those various parties are and how they prefer to be communicated with. We also are constantly coordinating the resources on both sides and making sure that we're meeting the needs of the various stakeholders. So, you know, whether that means clearing an engineer's calendar so that they can address a particular issue that they're facing on a project, or on the customer end, you know, making an engineer available for a time that maybe they need to work with Cisco TAC, or, you know, something that is, you know, a hard scheduled meeting that we need to kind of align those resources for. So we're always working to kind of coordinate both the internal and external teams.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, coordination is a big piece that, you know, engineers don't naturally do that well. And so it seems like having a project manager ensures that some of these, what may seem like small tasks, get done in a timely manner that keep the project on track.
Right. I mean, engineers are really looking at, you know, what are going to be the technical steps that I need to do in order to get this task completed. We don't expect them, nor is it really usually their strong suit, to be looking at all of the coordination and maybe all of the different pieces that they're going to need in order to make that come together and happen. And so that's really the project manager's job. We're constantly trying to assess how we can provide value to the project team. Really anything that's not super technical is something that we want to be able to take on and do for the engineer. So whether that means, you know, boxing up gear in order to get it shipped out to a customer site, if that means, like I said, clearing their calendar so that they can, you know, have the time and the bandwidth in order to be able to address an issue, any way that we can provide value is what we want to do as a project manager.
One of the things that we worked on a lot here is an effective methodology around project management. So what are some of the things that stand out for you as we're managing really IT projects? Some of the key things that we do that ensure a good project?
I mean, I think that our process that we have kind of cultivated here at Looking Point, and we're always going through various iterations in order to improve, is really part of our kind of our success, our special sauce that we have here. You know, what works nicely is that our process and our methodology here is really closely aligns with the Project Management Institute's methodology. You know, you have your 5, process groups, and our methodology really aligns with that as far as, moving from an initiation phase really into planning and design, into configuration and actually implementation, and then post-support, if that includes training, and then closing. You know, how we meet and kind of communicate during those various phases too, really, I think, takes it to the next level. So things like cutover readiness meetings, post, cutover day 1 support meetings to touch base with the customer and prioritize any issues, different customized documentation. There's just so many things that, we provide that I think really is the next level of project management delivery.
Awesome. And there may be a lot of customers out there watching this, and they're thinking, hey, I just really want to step up our internal PM game as it relates to IT. What would be some of the things that you'd say, hey, here's 3, 4, 5 things that we do internally with our project management that you see as really beneficial?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that, a lot of it is really sticking with a proven process that you have seen successful in delivery. And part of that is making sure that you're aligned internally on what the scope is, and make sure that there's a clear understanding of what the deliverables or the outcomes should be of the project with your engineer and with your executives and your project management. And then, really prepping for any cutovers or any maintenance windows that you have scheduled. Really going over what are my order of operations, what is my test plan, what is a rollback plan if things don't go as expected.
Right.
Really making sure that you're clear on the logistics for day 1 support. Is my engineer going to be available? Is he going to be there for end users to ask questions or to kind of triage, those
That's
tickets
huge.
coming in?
Yeah.
And, that the engineer knows how to prioritize that work as well. What are, the things that are really critical to our business? What are the things that maybe we can address later in the day or, in subsequent days? So just kind of always planning for the entire implementation, rather than just maybe specific tasks during that maintenance window.
Okay. And is there anything else that you think from a PM perspective, as we're deploying IT projects, is there anything else as a PM that you think, this is a really important thing that we do? If there's one thing that you think provides, the biggest value, what would that be?
I would say it's a combination of our certification and training in the technology, as well as project management, and our tribal knowledge. We've done this before. And so the best practices, both on the engineering side and the project management side, that we can bring to these projects with this various technology is just, to me, priceless. There are so many details and caveats and features and feature limitations, depending on not only the technology, but how you implement it, that it would be very difficult, I think, I would imagine, as a customer who has maybe never seen this before, or, maybe never seen this specific technology, to kind of be able to plan for all of that. And so to have that knowledge base from, somebody like Looking Point is just... it just helps ensure the success of the project so much more than having never done it before and kind of starting from scratch.
Awesome. So what are some of the challenges that you see customers face when deploying technology from a project management perspective?
Some of the challenges that I see customers face, and hopefully that we're able to provide solutions for if they, decide to go with our project management teams, is coordination. So coordination of internal and external teams, carriers, other carriers, vendors, all different types of stakeholders that will be involved in a project, especially a large project, is very challenging. It's challenging even as a project manager. So if that's not your area, kind of a focus or expertise, then I can imagine that it would be a little bit overwhelming. So that can definitely be a challenge. Also, just understanding the features and limitations of different hardware and software. It's just something that can really be overwhelming for somebody to understand, especially if it's a brand new technology that they're, maybe just not particularly familiar with. Even their internal technical resources might not be familiar with. Also, the last thing I would say is kind of a common challenge. What are the requirements, both on the hardware end and on the configuration end, for not only the technology that you're implementing, but how you've chosen to implement it?
Right.
Because obviously we do different implementations depending on the customer environment or what their preference is. And it can be hard to account for all of the different requirements that you may need to do, that the customer may need to do on their end, in their network, or their environment, and all of the different requirements that we need to meet in order to implement the solution. And so I think that that's another challenge that customers tend to face.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for coming out today.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
So to sum it up, with project management, methodology, coordination, and communication. If you have any suggestions, email us at firesidechat@lookingpoint.com. Thanks for watching.
It's a Fireside Chat, y'all.